Section 1. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we stand at the edge of a transformation where the ordinary hum of your daily life begins to crackle with something sharper, a restless pulse that won't let you sleep. Picture yourself in a dimly lit room, the clock ticking past midnight, your mind racing with questions about what's next. You're not just tired of the grind, you're allergic to it. This isn't just another night of scrolling or daydreaming, it's the moment you realize you might not survive this version of yourself if you stay comfortable. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your city and local time. I'm curious where you're joining me from tonight. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on a fan for a little white noise, and let's begin tonight's journey together. I used to think wealth was a number in a bank account, a flashy car, or a house that screamed success. But I was wrong. Wealth isn't just money. It's a state of mind, a seed planted deep in your subconscious. And if you're feeling restless, that seed is starting to sprout. The first sign you're walking the path to wealth is a growing discomfort with mediocrity. It's like wearing a shirt that's too tight. What once fit now chokes you. The routines of ordinary life, clocking in without purpose, spending money on fleeting pleasures, surrounding yourself with noise, used to feel normal. Now they're unbearable. I remember sitting in a coffee shop, overhearing small talk about reality TV and feeling my skin crawl. Not because I'm better, but because I was waking up. This discomfort isn't frustration. It's an awakening. Your mind is rejecting what no longer aligns with who you're becoming. It's casting out habits, people, and beliefs that keep you small. Wealth begins when you say, "This isn't who I am." I felt it when I stopped binge-watching shows and started reading about systems that build empires. It's not about judging others. It's about hunger. You're no longer impressed by appearances or entertained by gossip. You crave strategy, substance, freedom, not through luck, but through intention. This hunger is your first turning point. You're walking with the posture of someone who's decided, and when you decide, the universe shifts to meet you. Let's talk about aging for a moment, because it ties into this. As we grow older, our brains become less plastic, less open to new patterns by age 40. Most people are locked into their habits. But here's the intellectual insight. Discomfort is your brain's way of forcing neuroplasticity, rewiring itself for growth, even in your later years. If you're feeling this unease, your mind is fighting to stay young, to evolve. That's not just a sign of wealth, it's a sign you're defying the mental stagnation that traps most people. Now here's something odd. Did you know the smell of rain can trigger memories more vividly than any other scent? It's because the olfactory bulb is wired directly to the brain's memory centers. When you feel that discomfort, it's like catching a whiff of rain. It's pulling up memories of who you could be, not who you were. You're starting to remember your potential. This shift isn't just personal, it's universal. There's an academically debatable idea that wealth consciousness is a collective energy, a frequency you tap into when you reject mediocrity. Some call it pseudoscience, but I've seen it the moment you stop tolerating smallness. Opportunities seem to find you. It's not magic, it's alignment. You're no longer chasing distractions. You're saying no to people who drain you, not out of arrogance, but because every no to nonsense is a yes to your destiny. I used to spend hours scrolling, laughing at memes about adulting. Joke number one, I thought adulting meant paying bills. But now I know it's paying attention. Your attention is your first asset. Where others are reactive, you're intentional. Where others consume you, create. Focus is the hammer that breaks the chains of poverty. I started setting my phone to grayscale. Try it. It's like putting blinders on a horse. Suddenly the shiny apps lose their pull and you're free to think. This discomfort also changes how you see others. You're not impressed by loud cars or name-dropping. You notice who's building, who's disciplined. I met a guy at a conference, all flash, talking about his hustle. but his eyes darted, his words were empty. Then I met a quiet woman in the corner sketching out a business plan on a napkin. Guess who I'm still learning from? Wealth isn't loud, it's deliberate. Here's a light jab joke. Number 2. I used to think cutting corners was efficient, like skipping the gym to save time. Now I know cutting corners just builds a smaller box to live in. You're starting to build bigger. You're not just working harder, you're working smarter. You're auditing your day asking, where did my energy go? That's not obsessive, it's ownership. By rejecting mediocrity, you're also rejecting excuses. You're not blaming your past or your boss. You're the one who moves first. I stopped waiting for permission when I launched my first side project. It flopped, but I learned more in that failure than in years of playing it safe. Failure isn't the opposite of wealth, stagnation is. And here's the rhythm of it. Every time you choose discomfort over ease, you're stacking bricks for your future. You're not just dreaming of wealth, you're embodying it. You're walking like someone who expects to win even if the bank account hasn't caught up yet. That's the secret nobody tells you. Wealth starts in your posture, not your wallet. One last thought before we move forward. You're not alone in this discomfort. Every wealthy mind, every builder, every visionary felt this itch before their breakthrough. It's not a curse, it's a calling. You're not running from something, you're running towards someone. The version of you that's already wealthy, not in dollars, but in clarity, in purpose, in power. Section 2. The air feels different now, doesn't it? Like you've stepped out of a fog and into a sharper version of the world. You're not just waking up to what you don't want, you're starting to see what you do want, and it's pulling you forward like a magnet. That discomfort with mediocrity we talked about. It's not enough to reject the smallness of ordinary life. You've got to protect the one resource that makes transformation possible, your time. I'm standing here tonight imagining you in your space, maybe a quiet apartment, maybe a bustling city, humming outside your window, and I know you're feeling it too. The clock isn't just ticking, it's counting down to something bigger. This is the second sign you're walking the path to wealth. You've become intolerant of wasted time. You've realized time is the currency of the wealthy, and you're done spending it like pocket change. I used to treat time like it was infinite. Weekends blurred into Netflix marathons, and I'd laugh it off, saying, I'll get serious tomorrow. But tomorrow never came until I saw the truth. The poor spend time, the average trade it for pleasure, but the wealthy invest it. Every second is a brick in the foundation of your future. I remember the night I deleted my social media apps, not out of some grand gesture, but because I caught myself scrolling for 2 hours instead of working on my side hustle. That was my wake-up call. Now I guard my time like it's gold. You're starting to do the same, aren't you? You're saying no more often, not out of arrogance, but alignment. Every no to distraction is a yes to your destiny. This shift is visceral. You feel it when you turn down a night out to finish a project. You sense it when you mute group chats that buzz with gossip. You're not being cold, you're being strategic. Time is sacred, and you've become allergic to anything that steals it. Idle conversations, endless scrolling people who drain your spirit. I once spent an hour debating politics with a coworker, only to realize it was like pouring water into a cracked bucket. Nothing gained, just time lost. Now I redirect those moments to what builds me. You're learning this too. Energy is sacred, and attention is wealth. The man who controls his attention controls his outcomes. Let's pause for an intellectual insight about aging. As we age, our perception of time accelerates. Psychologists call it the time compression effect. By your 30s, a year feels shorter because it's a smaller fraction of your life. This is why the wealthy obsess over time. They know it slips faster with every birthday. If you're feeling this urgency, it's not panic. It's your mind demanding you make every moment count before the years blur together. Here's an odd fact to chew on. Octopuses have 3 hearts and can change color to blend into their surroundings, but they only live a few years. Nature's most adaptable creature is cursed with a short clock. You're not an octopus, but you're starting to see time's limits, and like that creature you're adapting, shifting your colors to blend with abundance, not survival. There's an academically debatable idea here. Some philosophers argue time isn't linear, but cyclical, a series of repeating patterns we can master. Critics call it metaphysical fluff, but I've felt it when you start investing time instead of spending it. You break the cycle of scarcity. You create momentum, and momentum feels like bending time itself. You're not just living for the weekend anymore, you're living for your vision. An hour spent building is worth more than a year spent wishing. Let's lighten the mood. Joke number 1. I used to think time management was just setting an alarm. Now I know it's setting boundaries, like telling my cousin, "Sorry, I can't fix your laptop at 2 a.m. You're setting boundaries too. You're auditing your day, asking, "Where did my hours go?" Maybe you've started using a calendar not just for meetings, but for your life. I began blocking out deep work hours, 90 minutes. No phone, no excuses. It's like lifting weights for your focus. The first time I did it, I wrote a business plan that's still paying dividends. This mastery of time changes how you move through the world. Where others are scattered, you're deliberate. I was at a networking event once, watching people flit from conversation to conversation, chasing clout. Then I noticed a guy in a plain jacket quietly listening, asking sharp questions. Later I learned he was a multi-millionaire investor. He wasn't loud, but his presence screamed focus. You're starting to carry that same energy. You're not chasing, you're attracting. Focus is your hammer breaking the chains of distraction. Here's joke number 2. I once thought multitasking was a superpower, like juggling flaming torches. Turns out it's just dropping all the torches at once. You've learned this too. Multitasking is a myth. Studies show it reduces productivity by up to 40%. You're choosing single tasking instead, pouring your energy into one thing at a time. It's why you're closing browser tabs, silencing notifications, building systems to protect your focus. Your circle is shrinking, and that's no accident. You're less available to people who dull your edge. I had a friend who'd call just to complain every day, same script. I started redirecting him. "What's your plan to fix it?" Eventually, he stopped calling. Not because I was harsh, but because I was building. You're doing the same, choosing rooms where excellence is the baseline. You don't need to be the smartest. You just need to be where smart people are talking. One more rhythm to this: every disciplined minute compounds. You're not just saving time, you're multiplying it. I started waking up 30 minutes earlier, not to hustle, but to think. Those quiet mornings became my strategy sessions. You're finding your own rituals. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's a walk without your phone. These moments aren't small, they're the scaffolding of empires. Here's the final joke. Number 3, I used to think free time meant freedom. Now I know freedom is owning your time, not giving it away like cheap candy. You're owning yours now. You're not perfect, but you're intentional. You're not waiting for a windfall. You're building a pipeline. And that pipeline, your time, your focus, your energy is already flowing toward wealth. You don't just want more. You're becoming the kind of man who commands it. Section 3. The world feels sharper now, like you've tuned the static out of an old radio and found a clear signal. You're not just guarding your time, you're starting to see it as a long game, a chessboard where every move sets up the next. The discomfort with mediocrity pushed you to act, and protecting your time gave you the space to think. But now you're crossing a new threshold. You're thinking in years, not days. This is the third sign you're walking the path to wealth. A shift from emotional impulse to long-term vision. I'm picturing you tonight, maybe staring out a window at a city skyline or a quiet street, feeling the weight of your future pulling you forward. This isn't about quick wins anymore. It's about building something that lasts. I used to live for the moment, chasing paychecks, splurging on nights out, thinking I'll figure it out later. But that mindset kept me stuck like running on a treadmill. The shift came when I started asking, how will this pay me in 5 years? Instead of, how does this make me feel today? It's a small question, but it's the foundation of empires. You're asking it too, aren't you? You're not just chasing income. You're building infrastructure assets of character, skill, and value. I remember the first time I skipped a trendy purchase to invest in a course. It wasn't sexy, but it taught me systems that tripled my output. You're making those choices now, trading instant gratification for lasting gain. This long-term vision changes how you see money. Where you once feared it, now you respect it. Money isn't a master or a savior. It's a servant, an amplifier of your value. You've stopped trading hours for dollars and started seeking leverage through ideas and systems. I had a friend who worked 80-hour weeks for a paycheck, always broke. Then I met someone who built a small app in 6 months that now earns passively. The difference, one sold time, the other sold value. You're leaning toward value now, asking, how can I multiply my impact? That's wealth consciousness. Let's weave in an intellectual insight about aging. As we age, our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning and impulse control, matures, peaking in our 40s. This is why long-term thinking feels natural now. Your brain is literally wired for it. If you're resisting short-term temptations, you're not just disciplined, you're leveraging biology to build wealth. Most people let this window pass, but you're seizing it. Here's an odd fact: the shortest war in history lasted 38 minutes, but its outcome shaped a nation's economy for decades. Short moments can have long shadows. Your decisions today, skipping distractions, investing in skills, are like that war, brief but pivotal, shaping your wealth for years to come. There's an academically debatable idea here. Some economists argue that wealth is less about resources and more about time horizons. The longer your planning horizon, the wealthier you become, regardless of income. Critics say it oversimplifies systemic barriers, but I've seen it hold true. When you started thinking in decades, not days, didn't you feel a shift? It's like stepping out of a sprint and into a marathon, pacing yourself for the long haul. Let's lighten things up. Joke number 1. I used to think long-term meant planning my weekend. Now I know it's planning my legacy, though I still can't plan dinner without burning toast. You're planning bigger too. You're building systems, maybe a budget, a side hustle, or a habit tracker. I started using a spreadsheet to track my goals, not just my expenses. Sounds nerdy, but it's like a GPS for my future. You're finding your own tools, creating structure where chaos used to reign. This vision also changes how you handle setbacks. Where others panic, you strategize. I lost a big client once, and instead of sulking, I spent a week learning a new skill that landed me 3 better ones. You're doing this too, turning obstacles into stepping stones. You're not just reacting, you're building. Your calendar reflects it: fewer impulsive commitments, more deliberate steps. You're not living for applause, you're living for impact. Here's joke number 2. I thought investing was buying crypto on a whim, like betting on a horse named Moon Rocket. Now I know it's investing in myself, though I still check my portfolio like it's a soap opera. You're investing smarter too. Time, energy, focus. You're not just spending money, you're planting it, expecting a harvest. Maybe you've cut subscriptions to fund a mentorship or skipped takeout to save for a course. These aren't sacrifices, they're seeds. Your relationship with work is maturing. You're not asking for easy or chasing shortcuts. You see effort as a gateway, not a grind. I used to envy passive income gurus, but then I realized passive income comes from active value. You're building that value now, refining skills, simplifying processes. At a workshop, I saw a guy take pages of notes while others dozed off. Later, he launched a business based on one idea from that day. You're that guy now present, engaged, building depth. One more joke, number 3. I used to think systems meant a fancy app. Now I know it's just me showing up daily, though. I still dream of a robot assistant named Carl. Your systems are simpler but powerful morning routines, weekly reviews, saying no to energy drains. You're not scattered anymore. You're streamlined. You're not chasing trends. You're digging deep, creating dominion through depth. This long-term lens also sharpens your emotional clarity. You're less swayed by fleeting moods. I stopped buying things to feel better and started building things to feel alive. You're doing the same, choosing outcomes over feelings. You're not budgeting for fears. You're investing in faith. Every dollar, every hour is a soldier in your army marching toward a future you've already claimed in your mind. The rhythm of this shift is steady but relentless. You're not hoping for wealth, you're engineering it. You visualize your future not as a fantasy, but as a blueprint. I started speaking my goals out loud every morning, not to manifest, but to commit. It's like signing a contract with my future self. You're signing yours too, with every choice, every no, every step toward structure. Wealth isn't a number. It's this mindset. And your mindset is no longer poor. It's abundant, deliberate, unstoppable. Section 4. The pulse of your life has changed. It's not just about rejecting mediocrity, guarding your time, or thinking long-term, though those are the roots. Now you're driven by something fiercer, an obsession with growth. You're not content to stand still. You're climbing, reaching for the next version of yourself. This is the 4th sign you're walking the path to wealth. You're consumed by the need to expand your mind, your skills, your impact. I see you tonight maybe hunched over a book, a podcast humming in your ears, or scribbling ideas in a notebook under a flickering lamp. You're not chasing fleeting highs anymore. You're chasing mastery. This hunger isn't loud, but it's relentless, and it's reshaping you into someone wealth can't ignore. I used to think growth was optional, something for overachievers or people with extra time. I'd coast through days learning just enough to get by. But then I hit a wall. My job felt small. My ideas felt stale. That's when I started reading, not for fun, but for survival. One book led to another, and soon I was devouring biographies, strategies, philosophies. You're feeling this too, aren't you? You're reading more, asking deeper questions, seeking conversations that stretch you. You're replacing gossip with mentorship, complaints with commitments. I swapped happy hour rants for coffee with a mentor who asked, "What's your plan?" That question changed me. You're seeking those questions now, the ones that force you to level up. This obsession with growth is practical, not abstract. You're not just collecting facts, you're executing. I started applying what I learned, even imperfectly. My first blog post was clunky, but it led to a client who saw my potential. You're doing this too, turning theory into action, building momentum. Momentum isn't speed, it's weight, and every disciplined day adds to it. You're stacking skills, refining habits, becoming someone who doesn't just dream but delivers. People feel it, opportunities sense it. When the world sees your seriousness, it responds. Let's pause for an intellectual insight about aging. As we age, our cognitive reserve, the brain's ability to adapt and solve problems, depends on continuous learning. Studies show that adults who engage in lifelong learning maintain sharper minds into their 70s. Your obsession with growth isn't just building wealth, it's building a mind that defies decline. You're not just chasing riches, you're chasing resilience, ensuring your brain stays agile as the years stack up. Here's an odd fact. The world's oldest library, Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco, has been operating since 859 AD, preserving knowledge for over a millennium. It's a reminder that growth compounds across generations. Your learning today isn't just for you, it's a legacy, like a library. You're building for your future self and those who follow. There's an academically debatable idea here. Some psychologists suggest that growth mindset isn't just a personal trait, but a cultural force amplifying collective progress. Skeptics argue it's overhyped, but I've felt it when you surround yourself with learners, the air changes. You're seeking those rooms now, aren't you? Places where excellence is the baseline, where ideas spark like flint. You don't need to be the smartest, you just need to be where smart people are building. Let's lighten the mood. Joke number 1. I used to think personal growth meant growing my beard. Now I know it's growing my brain, though my beard still thinks it's the star. You're growing too, auditing your inputs. Maybe you've swapped news feeds for newsletters or YouTube rants for masterclasses. I started listening to podcasts during my commute, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's 130 hours a year of learning. You're finding your own channels, curating what sharpens you. This growth changes how you carry yourself. You're not loud about it, but there's a quiet confidence. I was at a meetup once, surrounded by experts boasting credentials. Then a soft-spoken guy shared one insight that silenced the room. He wasn't chasing clout, he was chasing clarity. You're like that now, less noise, more signal. You're not impressed by flash, you respect consistency. You're becoming the kind of person others learn from, even if you don't see it yet. Here's joke number 2. I thought mentorship was a fancy word for free advice. Now I know it's a mirror showing me my blind spots, though I still dodge the mirror when it's haircut day. You're seeking mirrors too. Mentors, books, failures. You're not afraid to be wrong anymore. You're hungry to be better. I pitched a bad idea once and got roasted by a colleague. Instead of sulking, I asked for feedback. That critique saved me months of missteps. You're asking for feedback now, turning criticism into fuel. Your days reflect this obsession. You're not perfect, but you're deliberate. You're finishing what you start, even when the spark fades. I set a rule: no new projects until I complete the last one. It's like cleaning your plate before dessert. Discipline tastes better than chaos. You're building similar rules, creating structure. Maybe it's a daily journal or a weekly review. These aren't chores, they're scaffolding for your empire. One more joke. Number 3. I used to think learning meant memorizing facts. Now I know it's rewriting my limits, though. I still can't remember where I parked my car. You're rewriting your limits too. You're not just consuming knowledge, you're applying it, testing it, living it. You're studying wealth, not just as money, but as principal energy legacy. You're building a philosophy, a code, and that code is carrying you forward step by deliberate step. The rhythm of this growth is addictive. Every book, every skill, every hard-won lesson compounds. You're not just adding to yourself, you're multiplying. I started teaching what I learned, not because I'm a guru, but because teaching cements understanding. You're sharing too, maybe in small ways, a tip to a friend, a post online. That's not ego, it's abundance. Wealthy minds don't hoard, they multiply value. This obsession also sharpens your intuition. You're noticing patterns when a conversation feels off, when an opportunity aligns. I walked away from a sure-thing deal because it didn't feel right. A month later, it crashed. You're trusting your gut too, not out of fear but clarity. Growth isn't just knowledge, it's awareness, the kind that guides you through chaos. You're no longer the same person who started this journey. You're bolder, clearer, hungrier. You don't just want wealth, you're becoming the kind of man wealth seeks. Every lesson you learn, every habit you build is a brick in your foundation. And that foundation isn't just for you, it's for the legacy you're starting to see, the one that will outlast you. You're not chasing growth, you're embodying it. And that's why wealth is no longer a dream, it's a destination you're already approaching. Section 5. The ground beneath you feels firmer now, doesn't it? You've rejected mediocrity, claimed your time, envisioned the long game, and fueled your growth with an unrelenting hunger. But the path to wealth isn't a straight line. It's a forge, and the heat is rising. You're not just building habits or skills. You're being tested. This is the fifth sign you're walking the path to wealth. Adversity no longer breaks you, it builds you. I'm seeing you tonight maybe pacing your room, wrestling with a setback or staring down a challenge that feels too big. But you're not folding. You're standing taller, turning pain into power. This is where the wealthy are made, not in comfort, but in the crucible of struggle. I used to crumble when things went wrong. A missed deadline, a failed pitch, a bank account dipping low, it would send me spiraling. I'd vent, blame, hide. But then I noticed something. Every wealthy person I studied had scars, not excuses. They didn't avoid pain, they alchemized it. I started doing the same. When a business idea tanked, I didn't sulk. I dissected it, extracted the lessons, and built something better. You're doing this too, aren't you? Where you once resented failure, now you mine it for wisdom. You're not avoiding obstacles. You're using them as training. Every trial is a rep, strengthening the muscle of your character. This resilience is wealth's foundation. Money comes and goes, but character holds it together. You're becoming a container for abundance, someone who can be trusted with more. I remember losing a mentor's trust because I missed a deadline. It stung, but I owned it, rebuilt my reputation, and earned his respect back. You're owning your missteps too, showing up even when it's hard. You're finishing what you start, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. That's not just discipline, it's power, and power precedes prosperity. Let's pause for an intellectual insight about aging. As we age, our emotional regulation improves. Neuroscientists say the amygdala, which drives fear and anger, calms down in our 30s and beyond. This is why you're handling setbacks better now. Your brain is wired to stay steady. Resilience isn't just grit, it's biology preparing you to carry wealth without cracking under pressure. Most people let emotions derail them, but you're leveraging this maturity to build something lasting. Here's an odd fact: the strongest material on Earth, graphene, is a single layer of carbon atoms, but it's 200 times stronger than steel. Adversity is your graphene-thin moments of struggle that make you unbreakable. Your challenges aren't weakening you, they're forging you into something tougher than you realize. There's an academically debatable idea here. Some psychologists argue that post-traumatic growth is more common than PTSD, meaning most people grow stronger from adversity, not weaker. Critics say it's overly optimistic, but I've lived it. When my first venture failed, I didn't just recover, I became sharper, more focused. You're feeling this too, aren't you? Every obstacle is a teacher, every loss a lesson. You're not just surviving, you're thriving in the pressure. Let's lighten the mood. Joke number 1: I used to think resilience was bouncing back like a rubber ball. Now I know it's more like a boomerang, coming back stronger, though I still can't throw one right. You're coming back stronger too. Maybe you faced a rejection, a job, a deal, a dream, and instead of quitting, you pivoted. I got turned down for a project once, but I used the feedback to land a bigger one. You're pivoting like that, turning no into not yet. This resilience changes how you move through the world. Where others panic, you pause. I was at a conference when a speaker's tech failed. While others groaned, she improvised, turning a glitch into a masterclass. That's you now, improvising, adapting, thriving. You're not shaken by delays or discouraged by rejection. You've trained your mind to see pain as preparation. When a client ghosted me, I didn't chase. I built a system to attract better ones. You're building systems too, turning chaos into order. Here's joke number 2. I thought failure was the end, like a game over screen. Now I know it's just a checkpoint though. I still hate losing at Monopoly. You're passing checkpoints too. You're not internalizing setbacks, you're investigating them. Maybe you've started journaling your failures, not to dwell but to decode. I began tracking my mistakes in a notebook. Sounds grim, but it's like a treasure map to my next win. You're mapping your wins too. Learning faster, moving smarter. Your circle reflects this strength. You're drawn to people who've weathered storms, not those who complain about the rain. I met a founder who'd lost everything in a recession, yet he spoke with calm certainty about his comeback. His energy was magnetic, not because he was rich, but because he was resilient. You're becoming magnetic too, attracting opportunities because you don't break. You're not loud about it, but your presence speaks quiet, steady, unshakable. One more joke, number 3. I used to think character was just being nice. Now I know it's being unbreakable though. I still smile at dogs to seem nice. Your character is your currency now. You're showing up when the feeling's gone, honoring your word even in private. I made a promise to myself to write daily, and some nights it's just one sentence, but I keep it. You're keeping promises too, building trust with yourself. And trust is the spiritual law of wealth. When you can be trusted, abundance finds you. The rhythm of this resilience is transformative. You're not just enduring, you're evolving. Every challenge polishes you, making you a stronger container for wealth. You're not chasing money, you're becoming the kind of man money chases. I started visualizing my trials as training camps, each one preparing me for a bigger stage. You're visualizing too, seeing setbacks as setups for success. You speak victory over your life, not defeat. Your language has changed. You don't say I failed, you say I learned. That's not just semantics, it's prophecy. This strength also sharpens your clarity. You're not distracted by comparison or derailed by doubt. I stopped scrolling through success stories that made me feel small and started building my own. You're building yours too, focusing on your lane. You're not perfect, but you're persistent. Every disciplined choice, every hard-won lesson compounds into momentum. And momentum is wealth's greatest ally, not speed, but weight pulling opportunities toward you. You're no longer the man who folds under pressure. You're the man who grows through it. Your trials aren't breaking you, they're making you. And that, my friend, is the mark of someone being prepared for great wealth. You're not just walking the path, you're carving it, step by resilient step, into a future that's already yours. Section 6. The air around you has shifted, hasn't it? It's not just the choices you're making or the resilience you've forged, it's who you're becoming. You've rejected the smallness of mediocrity, claimed your time, planned for the long haul, chased growth, and turned adversity into fuel. Now the transformation runs deeper, touching the core of your identity. This is the 6th sign you're walking the path to wealth. Your sense of self is evolving, and with it, your sensitivity to energy. I see you tonight maybe sitting in the quiet of your space, feeling a new clarity, like you're tuning into a frequency others can't hear. You're not just changing your habits, you're becoming the kind of person wealth was designed to find. I used to define myself by my circumstances, my job, my bank account, my past mistakes. I'd walk into rooms feeling small, like I had to prove something. But as I started building, I noticed a shift. I wasn't just doing different things, I was becoming a different man. My posture changed, my voice steadied, my decisions carried weight. You're feeling this too, aren't you? You're not saying I'm trying anymore, you're saying I'm becoming. You walk like it's already done, plan like it's already real. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Your identity is no longer tied to what you lack, it's rooted in what you're building. This new identity comes with a heightened awareness, a sensitivity to energy. You can feel when something's off, a conversation that drains an opportunity that doesn't align. I walked away from a partnership once because the vibe was wrong, even though the numbers looked good. Weeks later, I learned it would have been a disaster. You're trusting your gut too, not out of fear, but out of clarity. You sense when someone's words don't match their spirit, when a room feels heavy with distraction. This isn't woo-woo, it's discernment, and it's a hallmark of the wealthy. They don't just read numbers, they read energy. Let's pause for an intellectual insight about aging. As we age, our intuition sharpens. Neuroscientists say the brain's pattern recognition improves with experience, peaking in our 50s. This is why you're picking up on subtle cues now. Your mind is a database cross-referencing life's lessons in real time. This sensitivity isn't just protecting you, it's guiding you toward abundance, like a compass for wealth. Most people ignore these signals, but you're leaning in, and that's your edge. Here's an odd fact: bees can detect electric fields, using them to find flowers with the most nectar. Your sensitivity to energy is like that a natural radar, steering you toward what nourishes your growth and away from what depletes it. You're not just reacting to the world, you're navigating it with precision. There's an academically debatable idea here. Some philosophers argue that identity isn't fixed, but fluid-shaped by intentional choices rather than circumstances. Critics call it overly idealistic, but I've lived it. When I stopped calling myself a worker and started saying a builder, my reality shifted. Opportunities found me not because I was louder, but because I was clearer. You're reshaping your identity too, aren't you? You're not hoping for wealth. You're embodying it, and the world is starting to respond. Let's lighten the mood. Joke number 1: I used to think identity was my driver's license photo. Now I know it's the story I tell myself, though. That photo still says bad hair day. You're rewriting your story too. You're not the person who hesitates or hides. You're the one who shows up, who speaks with conviction. I started practicing my pitch in the mirror, not to sell, but to believe. You're practicing too, maybe in small ways, standing taller, saying no, with ease, owning your space. This evolving identity changes how you interact. You're not chasing approval anymore. You're offering value. I was at a networking event watching people clamor for attention. Then I noticed a woman who listened more than she spoke, asking questions that cut through the noise. She wasn't performing, she was present. That's you now. Present, grounded, magnetic. You're not loud, but your energy speaks. People feel it. Opportunities sense it. Because you're no longer scattered. You're whole. Here's joke number 2. I thought energy was just coffee and deadlines. Now I know it's the vibe I bring, though. I still need coffee to find my keys. You're curating your energy too, protecting it like a vault. You're less available to drama, more drawn to clarity. I stopped answering calls that felt like traps, endless complaints, no solutions. You're setting boundaries like that, choosing who gets your time, your focus, your spirit. It's not selfish, it's sacred. Your solitude has become a workshop. Where you once feared being alone, now you crave it. I started spending Saturday mornings alone, no phone, just a notebook, and my thoughts. Those hours birthed ideas that changed my trajectory. You're finding your own quiet spaces, aren't you? Maybe it's a walk, a late-night drive, a moment before the world wakes. These aren't escapes, they're your altar where you refine your vision, your energy, yourself. One more joke. Number 3. I used to think intuition was guessing the Wi-Fi password. Now I know it's my inner GPS, though I still get lost in parking lots. Your intuition is guiding you too. You're not just following logic, you're following a deeper knowing. You're aligning with abundance, not by forcing it, but by becoming it. Your language reflects this. You don't say maybe or hopefully anymore. You say I will, I am. It's done. That's not just confidence, it's creation. Your words are shaping your reality. The rhythm of this transformation is profound. You're not just building a life, you're building a legacy. Your circle is tighter, your choices clearer, your energy purer. You're outgrowing old versions of yourself, shedding what no longer fits. I stopped wearing the mask of people pleaser and started wearing my purpose. You're shedding masks too, stepping into your truth. You're not perfect, but you're intentional. And that intention is a magnet for wealth, not just money, but meaning, impact, freedom. This identity shift also deepens your responsibility. You're not just living for yourself anymore. You're living for the ripple effect. I started mentoring a kid in my community, not because I had extra time, but because I saw my younger self in him. You're planting seeds like that maybe without realizing it. A kind word, a bold choice, a stand for your values. It all compounds. You're not just becoming wealthy. You're becoming a source, a system, a force. You're no longer the man who waits for permission. You're the man who moves first, who trusts his energy, who owns his story. Every step you take aligns you closer to abundance, not because you're chasing it, but because you are it. Your identity isn't a destination. It's a signal broadcasting to the universe that you're ready. And the universe, my friend, is listening. Section 7. You've come a long way, haven't you? The restlessness that woke you the time you reclaimed the vision you built, the growth you chased, the resilience you forged, and the identity you've claimed, they've all led you here. You're not just walking the path to wealth anymore, you're embodying it. This is the 7th sign. The final marker. Wealth is no longer a possibility for you, it's an inevitability. I see you tonight standing taller, maybe in a quiet moment of reflection, feeling the weight of your transformation. You're not chasing a number or a status. You're becoming the kind of man wealth was designed to serve. The world may not see it fully yet, but you feel it in your bones. You're unstoppable, and abundance is already yours. I used to think wealth was a finish line. Hit a certain figure, and you're done. But I was wrong. Wealth isn't a destination. It's a state of being, and you're living it now. Every disciplined choice, every bold step, every quiet moment of clarity has compounded into something unshakable. You're not hoping for success, you're building it, brick by brick. I felt this shift when I stopped waiting for the big break and started treating every day as the break. You're doing the same, aren't you? You rise with purpose, not panic. You lead your day, not follow it. Your mornings aren't rushed. They're sacred, a canvas for your vision. This inevitability comes from your alignment. You're no longer scattered. You're deliberate. Your thoughts, actions, and standards reflect abundance at the core. I started visualizing my goals every morning, not as dreams, but as contracts I'd already signed. It changed how I moved. Every task became a step toward what's mine. You're moving like that too, planning like the outcome is guaranteed, working like the money's already promised. This isn't blind optimism. It's faith backed by action. You've earned the right to expect prosperity, not through entitlement, but through execution. Let's pause for an intellectual insight about aging. As we age, our sense of purpose becomes a buffer against decline. Studies show that people with a clear why live longer and healthier lives even into their 80s. Your sense of inevitability isn't just building wealth, it's building longevity. You're not just stacking assets, you're stacking years fueled by a mission that keeps you sharp. Most people fade with age, but you're sharpening, and that's your legacy. Here's an odd fact: the longest living tree, a bristlecone pine named Methuselah, is over 800 years old, thriving in harsh conditions because it adapts slowly and steadily. You're like that tree. Your steady growth, your disciplined roots make you thrive where others wilt. Your wealth isn't fragile. It's built to last, not just for you, but for generations. There's an academically debatable idea here. Some thinkers argue that wealth is a byproduct of energetic coherence, a state where your mind, body, and actions align perfectly with your purpose. Critics call it metaphysical nonsense, but I've felt it when you're aligned. Opportunities flow like water. You're coherent now, aren't you? Your habits match your goals. Your energy matches your vision. That alignment is why wealth feels inevitable. It's not luck, it's law. Let's lighten the mood. Joke number 1: I used to think inevitable meant my laundry pile. Now I know it's my future, though I still avoid folding socks. You're folding your future into shape, though. You're not just dreaming, you're engineering. Your system's morning routines, weekly audits, focused hours are your blueprint. I started tracking my progress monthly, not to obsess, but to celebrate. You're celebrating too, maybe quietly noticing how far you've come. This inevitability changes how you carry yourself. You're not loud, but you're magnetic. I was at a dinner once, surrounded by big egos, shouting their wins. Then a quiet guy spoke one sentence, clear and grounded, and the room leaned in. That's you now. Your presence commands not because you demand it, but because you've earned it. You're not chasing validation. You're offering value. People feel it, and so does wealth. Here's joke number 2. I thought legacy was a fancy will. Now I know it's the life I'm building, though. I still hope someone inherits my bad dance moves. You're building a legacy too, not just money, but meaning. You're planting seeds for others, maybe through a kind act, a shared lesson, or a bold stand. I started writing letters to my future kids, not about cash, but about courage. You're writing your own letters, maybe in your actions, leaving a trail for those who follow. Your relationship with wealth is mature now. You don't hoard, you multiply. You don't chase, you attract. I stopped seeing money as a goal and started seeing it as a tool. It's like oxygen, necessary, but not the point. You're breathing easier too, respecting money without worshiping it. You're building assets, not just income, skills, networks, character. Every choice is a deposit in your empire, and that empire is growing not by chance, but by design. One more joke. Number 3. I used to think abundance was a buffet. Now I know it's a mindset, though. I still overdo it at tacos. Your mindset is abundant now. You don't compete, you create. You don't compare, you contribute. You're not asking, what can I get, but what can I give that multiplies? I started sharing my knowledge freely and it came back tenfold. You're sharing too, and it's compounding your value, your impact, your wealth. The rhythm of this inevitability is electric. You're not waiting for permission or applause. You're the one who moves first, who builds in silence, who trusts the process. Your self-talk is stronger. You don't dwell on mistakes. You declare victories. I stopped saying I'll try and started saying I'm doing it. You're speaking like that too, narrating your future with precision. Your words aren't just thoughts, they're blueprints. You're also untouchable now, not arrogant but unshakable. Delays don't discourage you, they refine you. Rejections don't define you, they redirect you. You've mastered the art of turning resistance into results. I faced a major setback last year, a deal fell through, but I used the time to build something better. You're building through your setbacks too, turning losses into leverage. You're not just surviving, you're sculpting. This is the truth. You're no longer chasing wealth. You're attracting it. Your clarity, your purpose, your alignment, they're a signal to the universe. You don't need to beg for riches. You've become the kind of man they seek. Every day you're stacking evidence, habits, choices, victories that you're ready. Wealth isn't a question of if anymore, it's a matter of when. And that when is closer than you think, because the man you are now is already the one wealth was waiting for. Closing summary. As the night settles, let the rhythm of this journey slow like a river finding its calm. You've walked through the signs: discomfort time, vision, growth, resilience, identity, inevitability, and they've woven a truth. You're not just on the path to wealth, you're becoming it. The man you are tonight, with your quiet resolve and steady pulse, is already rich in clarity, in purpose, in power. The dollars will follow, but they're secondary. You've built something deeper, a foundation that no storm can shake, a legacy that will outlive you. Picture yourself now, standing at the edge of a vast field, the stars above whispering your potential. You don't need to run anymore. The ground beneath you is yours. Every choice you've made, every hard morning, every bold no has planted seeds that are already sprouting. You're not alone in this. Every builder before you felt this same shift, this quiet certainty. So rest easy tonight. Your work is working even in the silence. The world will catch up, but you're already there, living the wealth of a man who knows his worth. Sleep well, my friend, and let tomorrow be another step into what's yours. Good night.